let's get started. Talking about killing people. How about we get to doing that ourselves, right?
I would hope not. We're at a bar. Well, is it a bar?
Actually, last night, Oris tried to kill someone. You almost killed someone. Yeah.
He was fine. And yet, I missed, thankfully.
Oh, yeah, in case this came to me as I was falling asleep last night. In case you don't know what that image I posted in the Wayfarer's Fork chat is, not the scallop one, that's a scallop. The medieval-looking one, that is a depiction of Greek fire.
Yeah.
Which apparently, according to some historians, ignited by contact with water, which I find really interesting. It ignites when it comes into contact with water. It sounds counterintuitive. Supposedly made of naphate, I think it's called, which is an ingredient in napalm, as well as limestone. So not terribly hard to make for a society like the one you're in currently. So yeah. It is referred to probably in this setting, if we want to go by more watery-based equivalents, probably Sensig. Sensig is probably the place they get produced. Sensig Sea Fire. Which, to be fair, was called Sea Fire in the real world, too. Sea Fire, War Fire, Sticky Fire, funnily enough.
It rolls off the tongue.
It stick on a boat and then burn them alive. Well, not alive, but the people alive.
Yeah, the question is, if some of that landed on you and you jumped in the water, would that just make it worse? Or would that put out the fire?
Probably worse.
Great. Because
the insinuation is that it sticks to you, and the insinuation that it ignites when it comes into contact with water. So I imagine jumping in the water would just make it, I don't know, hotter? Like the equivalent of boiling air onto a fire.
Yeah, but if you're underneath the water, though, would it still be on you, or would it just be on the surface?
That's a good question. I think it sticks to you.
Yeah, because there'd be no oxygen for it to...
So, yeah.
I don't know. I've never been exposed to Greek fire before.
Yeah, well, I suppose, yeah, neither of any of us.
Time to do some Googling now. Go on.
There is oxygen in water.
There's oxygen in
water.
Yeah,
but yeah, I suppose so.
How did they discover that?
Trial and error, maybe? Accident?
You have state-sponsored alchemists.
There we go.
They're state alchemists, one I call them. They have a pocket watch, and
they have a pewter.
Not Constantinople, no. They had an emperor. Emperor, yeah. Emperor Constantine and his wife, Theodora. Theodora had an art piece called Theodora, Her Three Attendants. I remember that piece very vividly. Don't know why. But anyways, enough about Constantinople and how it will eventually be not ruined, but put a bit asunder by Crusade efforts. Let's go talk about this. So I'll do you guys a favor, and I'll recap what happened last week. Because some weird stuff happened last week. Mostly because Korik went to go talk to Darcy, peculiarly enough. So, you guys started out at... Well, actually, I should move us back to the map. That'd be probably a bit more aesthetically pleasing. You guys started at the city boardwalk. Doff yonder. Having just finished a conversation with Thorbium. As to the... I guess technically sort of failed return of the brooch. I say technically failed because he didn't actually get returned it. Or I guess he did get returned it, and just immediately gave it back to you guys. So he re-returned it. It's like giving back a gift. Re-gifting.
No, you take it. You take it.
Let's see. Then you guys also had an interrogation, is probably the best way to put it, with Bella Lasson. Royal Guard Inquisitor. My bad. Bella Lasson. She bid you guys adieu, having had some questions answered. If this was like a Walking Dead Telltale style game, on the top right, there would probably be Abigail and Varric will remember that when you guys not condemned, but you definitely sided against the first waivers, and then they sided against the second waivers, so they'll remember that. The Minotaur, formerly known as an 8C, did lie, or I can't say lie to the fullest extent because there wasn't really a right answer for it. But to himself, he twisted the truth, withheld information, he lied for his own perspective. Afterwards, you guys were rejoined by Emil. You guys had dinner plans, inviting a number of people, and then Emil went off to go notify said people, him being one of them. Then Raitsi joined Tharbium in his shift covering efforts. Afterwards, that was like last session. But afterwards, you guys met Wayset Guard Captain Tertian Pikes, who gave you guys a morbid but realistic piece of advice of accept you're already dead. Accept your dead man walking, because it will just make this process of colonization and expansion that much simpler. And you guys had differing opinions on that. You guys mostly agreed that it seemed like such a macabre way of living, which it wasn't really living, is more surviving, versus I think Varric was basically on one in the camp of it's a necessity and a proper evil that should be done. But that was neither here nor there. Abba and Varric having picked their sides, and you guys siding on said sides. Then you guys met a peculiar friend, and he, to just reuse the euphemism, Acer had his hand in Fia's satchel. Yep, use that however you so wish. Delivering, reverse pickpocketing, essentially. I tried to leave a note. A note sent, warning your raven perch of a friend, aka Cork, that someone was hunting him. You guys discovered Acer, dragged him over to a bar, which was a literal, literally a bar, like a plank of wood on some crates and some crates of seats sort of establishment. Got him a drink, and he answered whatever you guys wanted, really, within reason. About Orist, about why he's hunting you, which is to say he didn't fucking know, as well as information about the prodigals. After that, you guys talked to a noble adjutant, I suppose the best way to put him, not an actual noble himself, discussing the nature of the diversity of workers here on the docks, specifically the two really large workers that were present. But after that, him, giving the name of his lady. Anyone remember what the name of his lady was?
Not at the top of my head.
Lady Elsevia? Elseva. I can read my handwriting, it's fine.
Good on you for taking notes. I was watching something this past week about, what constitutes a good player, and it basically boiled down to note-taking, and I was trying to think of my own performance as a player from the past, and I was like, yeah, I took a lot of notes, except for recently. And then I was like, all the stuff I've done recently are one shot, so you don't need to take notes.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this is what the video said, what makes a good player. I'm not saying I agree with it. If you have a good enough memory, I think you're fine. I think his biggest quip for this was if you didn't know something and thus were disrespecting both the GM as well as your fellow players by using them as information banks, and be like, I wasn't paying attention. What was this guy called? I wasn't paying attention. It's like that sort of it wasn't Colville. It was I think it was he's like a British guy, the great GM, the damn GM, I don't fucking remember.
Mm-hmm.
Some British bloke.
Humes?
I don't know his name.
Mark Humes?
I can probably find it one. I did watch another video of his about what makes a good character, and I was like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Hold on. I can confirm or deny these things in this moment. God damn it, it's all fucking Critical Role shit. Not WebDM, no. Is it this guy? This guy? Is it Great GM guy? I don't know. I think that might be the Great GM or something like that. Anyways, I'm not gonna spend too much time on it, but yeah, that's basically what he put it out as, and I was like, not sure if I agree, but I can see why he's hung up on the P of it. Like, it definitely get it. I do agree with like what he says makes a good character. It's competence, sociability, and proactivity. I think those are the 3 pillars he said it was. And you can cut down on one so long as you can supplement it with the other 2. But if you cut down on 2, you're basically an NPC. So I'm like, that's fair. If you're only just here for competence but no proactivity or sociability, you're basically just an NPC. I'm like, that's really fair. Thus, as indicated with Abigail and Varric, they're not proactive, at least not in the previous campaign. We'll see about this one. Not terribly social. They're just here for competence. Anyways, getting back to it. You guys crossed from the city boardwalk, through the waterfront, through the City Watch District, down to the promenade, into the Grove. Looking back on the VOD, I gave you guys different amounts of time. Like, I was like juggling, like caffeinating mine out of my fucking head. I think I said 2 hours, and then 45 minutes, and then 30 minutes, and different stuff like that. Oh well, whatever. But yeah, you guys, I think it should take you guys like an hour and a half to go from where you guys were to the Grove, but that's whatever, neither here nor there. Anyways, you guys went to the Grove, down the promenade into the Grove, and you guys approached Darcy and Oris's forest. And in proper courteous, I guess, manner, you asked to enter the forest, and Darcy found you guys relatively amusing, hopefully, and let you guys in. You guys had a talk with Darcy, talking about what the berry actually did before Cork just ate it, and then pondering its magical effects, as well, just in general, as well as upon you, Cork, in specific, because Darcy was, at least momentarily, you're not 100% certain by the end of it, but momentarily during the time, she was interested in your form of magic. This living ink embedded in you, so literally, potentially. I talked about other forms of magic, like with Euphia, and I talked about your storm sorcery, so to speak. Stuff like that. Darcy wasn't terribly impressed by your guys' vagaries of magic, but, you guys entertained her enough, and her brother, more so her than her brother, but you guys are entertaining enough that she actually asked Oris to not continue his hunt on you. Mostly because it did seem damn clear that you guys had no fucking clue what she and Oris were talking about this walking omen bloke, and your affiliation with him, and a misaffiliation with him, as designated by Oris. So, blinded temporarily, exhausted for more than a short amount of time, you guys, well, Cork in specific for that, but you guys left Oris and Darcy's forest. Oris guiding you guys out. On your guys' way out of the Grove, you guys ran into Asa again, and he was just wondering how it went, because you guys did a very daring task as a bunch of, Racy wasn't there. So that means Cork, Abigail, Varric, 3, a wood elf, and a tiefling, so mostly human group, enter into that forest. It's a daring task. People enter the forest in general is a daring task, but it was especially daring. Noticing that you guys are alive, or Acer was relatively impressed. Offered some information at a price. Acer is not free. Finding about the dead drop of that mysterious coin. And you guys decide, well, I guess you in specific Fia decided to pay him 30 gold and take him up on his offer. You guys then followed him through the residential district, past the City Hall Plaza, regrouped with Thorbium and Reitzi, well, the Minotaur formerly known as Reitzi, and then went to, I changed the actual logo of it, so it's right there. It's a little dark triangle there. To this hidden city, man-made grove of its own. This courtyard in between buildings that is nice and securely tucked away. You guys managed to, quote-unquote, infiltrate it via shimming through a crevice, a gap, only about 6 or so inches wide. So the bigger boys, like Thorbium and Reitzi, cannot join you, which is a shame. Abigail and Varric abstained out of the criminal activity, the blatantly, well, not criminal, it's outside of trespassing maybe, but, the more nefariously intended activities. You guys opened up a crate, which led to a tunnel. That tunnel was pitch dark until, let's see, Fia, you had produced flame, and then for you, Corey, you got dark vision, I believe, and you guys shimmied down, found a little lockbox, tried to lockpick the lockbox, failed at lockpicking the lockbox, and decided, what to do next. Multiple ideas were checked around. But in this retcon version, it seems that the general consensus, by general I mean one-person consensus, you brought it up, paid Acer 30 gold in a favor to lockpick it open, and he even put it back for you. And he did offer the insurance net of forewarning you guys if any assassin mobilization were to happen. I will correct something here and now, because I think this got discussed after session. I think I was trying to blaze through it at the moment, so I didn't bring it up at the time. I do mean this when I say that the Accord is an equivalent, roughly, there's no elder powers in John Wick, but, a rough equivalent to the Continental in John Wick. And I was telling Garth, there's a lot of stuff with the Continental. It is more than a club of assassins. It is an entire underworld society in and out of itself, which is based around the single economic value of these coins, which I personally akin to a life per coin. Why do I akin this? Because in the first John Wick, he kills 10 guys, he pays 10 coins to hide those 10 bodies. So a coin is worth roughly a life, more or less. But the thing is, if you see John Wick 2 and 3 and so on, these coins are more than just clean up body tokens. They pay for information. They buy specialized equipment. They buy, special services for the society. So let me correct it right now. If Corey wants to correct it in game, that's fine. If you don't, keep a little bit of misinformation out there, because, I don't know, you're not exactly assassins yourselves. Do whatever. But yeah, I want to correct it now when I say that the Accord is not an elite club of assassins. It certainly is a club, an elite club that has assassins in it, but it is not a club for assassins, by assassins, and stuff like that. It is a club for nefarious people. Some of these people are assassins. Some of these people are highly trained bodyguards that will literally protect you, no matter the cost of the people around you or the buildings around you or anything like that. They will keep you alive. Some are information dealers, something akin to Acer. Some of them are just repositories of forbidden knowledge or hard to acquire knowledge, esoteric knowledge that no one else can get, and they know, if you're good at something, don't do it for free, that Dark Knight style. They know what they know isn't common knowledge, and they charge you for it, this very particular currency. So yeah, I want to correct that now. The Accord is not a club of assassins. It is a club that has assassins in it, amongst a number of other... I don't think any person in the Accord, save for maybe a few, are designated good. I think most of them are at least neutral, if not evil, if we want to put alignments into it. But again, alignments are tricky.
The assassins are just a cog in a machine.
Exactly. So, going back to it, you know rough information about the Accord. We'll talk about that in a second. You guys got the coin. You guys left, ran into Charlotte Dupont, and she said that she has some extra details to give you guys, and that Lena, and I think she just said Lena at the time, will be telling you more. Information was, let's see if I remember correctly, there may be third parties involved. There may be, she says, according to Jesse and Lena, 50-50 crapshoot of whether or not you guys will be seeing combat or not. Obviously, you guys know you're going underwater and stuff like that. Oh, the third thing was, I'm not going to check. So I just finish up the
possibility
recap
of someone
already.
Tagging along with us.
Oh, yes, that's right. Like the failing of Ignacio, spelled with a T, by the way, Ignacio. The shortcomings of that, he wanted to get more people for you guys, but things just simply fell through. AKA out of game. Still waiting to hear. Rebecca not joining us anytime soon, and I don't know for Grace. Anyways, so that's what she told you guys, and then she had some business to do at City Hall. She left. I think the most peculiar thing to know about that interaction was that she knows Acer. That's a bit weird. But then again, Acer's an information broker, so maybe he just knows everyone. After that, you guys went to the Wayfarer's Fork, just a little bit ways north of here. You guys saw Emil, you saw Luxury. Out of game, you guys have met Luxury plenty. In game, this is the first time meeting her. You saw Emil's significant other, Katya, who is a city guard. So that's a bit awkward. You guys went into the Wayfarer's Fork at the behest of Emil, who said he was fucking exhausted, which I am emulating right now a lot, because I am fucking exhausted. And you guys saw Royal Guard Inquisitor Bella Lasson again. She made the joke? Observation?
I'm pretty sure it was rather serious, of just like, hey, don't start a fight.
I think she's like 10% joking. Of like criminals returning to the scene of the crime sort of deal.
I mean, like, it's pretty blatant that that's accurate.
Well, it depends. You see yourselves as criminals in this regard or not? But anyways, she was just double checking her ability to see if she was sure. She didn't want to press any charges or anything like that. Billy said, no, it's fine. The place is already fixed. Look at it. And it is fixed. And she's like, all right. She left, but the peculiar thing about this is that Acer was dodging her like people dodging the plague. Or I guess maybe not, because he was using the 2 tall boys and meat shields, which I don't think you want to do in a plague, because that just affects my people.
He was
dodging her. He was dodging her. And then you guys asked him what was up with that, and he says, maybe I'll tell you when I'm drunk. And that's why we left session, roughly. So, let's go back to this map. Again, a little bit of a multiple retcons. Obviously, one being Le Coin, which we found out isn't coin in French, it's piece de monnaie. Goddamn Frenchies.
Piece of money.
Yeah, it's a piece of money, alright. It literally is. Which are weird, because I feel like coin could be a French term. Anyways.
What I'm learning about the French language, the more you tell us about it, is that it's very lazy. It's just like, literal description is the name of the item. Yeah.
The thing is, it doesn't follow that rule all the time. If it did follow that rule all the time, it would probably be a really simple language. It doesn't, though. Like, all languages, it's dumb. Anyways.
Side note.
So, yeah, retcon being La Coin, La Piece de Monnaie, as well as, instead of reserving you guys a corner booth, Emil, well, I guess Levy's the one that reserves the booths, or the reserves the spaces. Levy instead reserved you guys a table on the 2nd floor. Just so you know how most of the... Basically, any floor that's not the first floor looks in terms of, like, architectural style, or, like, passageways and stuff. So it's like, you got a big, square. You can, like, go out onto the balconies. Or, not balconies, patios, I guess. And then there's stairs. Up, down. It's like an elevator. And then there's stairs like thusly. And before you wonder, how does how does Levy and Billy get food and stuff up floors? Obviously, they could carry it, but there is also like a dumbwaiter.
Perfect.
That goes up and down as well. You guys, this is something Varric and Abigail would tell you. You guys are expected to get it yourself when you're on these higher floors. That's a cost of privacy and quiet. There is a bard playing. There's a bard playing outside. You guys probably would have saw him as you came in. Well, 2 bards, actually. I say 1.5 bards.
It's a fucking party.
It's Peter and Dyrene. Those are the ones outside. Not that you guys have met them, but just for out of game visualization.
Was Dyrene the one, quote-unquote, in charge?
No.
No, that was a different one.
Dyrene is the half-elf. Michaela is the head bard. Michaela Kavlitz, I believe her last name was. And then it's Shay, and then Peter, and then, yeah. So, let's get down to it, huh? So let me first off just turn it off, repeat. That was a long recap.